Hey guys, we're gonna try this like 3 more times.
We are at Starbucks.
We are at Starbucks because we love you,
and because we're having some demolition happening at our house, that the internet decided not to work.
Yeah.
Surprise!
So our apologies for that, but it's a little louder out here. But we're gonna try our best to kind of share with you guys what we want to share. So first off, my name is Barry Taimani. This is my wife,
Jessennia Taimani.
and this is my sister-in-law,
Erica Villanueva.
and so my wife shared that we had some demolition stuff going on, and so there must have been a cord cut or something. There's just a bad connection. So we're here at Starbucks, and so yesterday Andrea posted on Be Bold Speak Truth page that she offered an opportunity for people to share about moments of missed opportunities that you missed sharing truth into somebody's life. And so I want to share a little something that happened to me back in January. Every January I'm a part of this collective group called ELCA, and so we meet up in Chicago every January. And so I was on a flight with about 6 other musicians from the Bay Area, and getting on this flight, directly across from me was a mom and her 2-year-old baby, and probably younger. But before that, I thought about, immediately when I saw this mother sitting with her baby, I thought about our trip to New Zealand. And when we flew to New Zealand a couple years ago, my wife had this idea to make a care package for the people that sat around.
We were traveling with a little girl that was a little less than 2 that was crazy. So I wanted to make sure if she was screaming during the nighttime that we were giving gifts to the people around us that might be affected. So we made these little goodie bags that I actually found on Pinterest because I love Pinterest. And they had, what did they have? They had like earplugs, snacks, and just a bunch of different stuff just to be like, hey, if my kid cries, sorry, but here's something to compensate. So that's the trip that Barry's talking about, that we made these little things. And the response from everyone was so appreciative. Like, oh man, not even a worry if your baby cries, no big deal. But for me, I just wanted to make sure that I covered if she did throw a tantrum. Anyways, continue.
So I was on this flight and I saw this mom, and the flight to Chicago was about 4.5 hours. And during the whole flight, the baby had like moments where the baby was taking a nap, but majority of the flight, the baby was just having a bad time. I don't know if baby's ears were popping, but it was just whining the whole time. And so I was like, the whole time I was just loving the way that this mom was responding, because she didn't get angry. Not once did she get angry. Not once did she like hit the child. Not once did she like do anything that was out of character towards the babies. The whole time she just really like just loved the baby, and just held him and tried to whisper, comfort to him. But I remember sitting there and telling myself that, man, I really want to tell this mom what a great job she's doing. And because I thought about that moment for us on the airplane, and how I was concerned about what people were thinking, and I just couldn't imagine what she was going through with her baby screaming and people all around trying to sleep, like worried about what they think. So I felt like,
and still keeping her composure,
kept her composure
to love
for
on her kid, because I would probably lose it.
For 4.5 hours, just kept her composure, and I just felt like, man, I gotta say something. And so I had it in my head that I was gonna say something, and we're unpacking our bags, grabbing our stuff from the top, and we started getting off the plane, and I had a bunch of, so we were waiting for all the other musicians to get off the plane, and I kind of forgot about her, but I was kind of still looking for her. And so as we were walking, I noticed the lady and her child, and then it looked like her sister. They were like standing outside the bathroom, and the baby looked happy now. But I was walking with the other musicians, and because I was walking with them, I didn't stop because they were right behind me, so we were kind of walking fast, and I glanced over, I noticed her, and I just kept walking. I don't know, I just kept walking. And as I'm walking, I'm thinking to myself, should I go back? And I just kept walking. And so it was like an hour after that, and even days after that, weeks after that, even today, I think it plays out in my head, what would have happened if I just went up to that mom and said, you know what, I just want to tell you how much of an awesome job that you're doing, just keeping your composure for that whole flight, and not letting it affect your love for your child. And you know, it was just so encouraging to me. But the fact that I didn't say something, it's kind of good, because it also encourages me, because the more I think about that, what would have happened, I think about the opportunities that I'm given every single day to speak truth and to be bold and to step out of my comfort zone when I'm walking with friends, or when I'm in a group full of people, like stepping out of my comfort zone, just going up to somebody and telling them, hey, what you just did is inspiring, and I just want to tell you that you're doing a great job. And so that's just my 2 cents. And that, I think this page is just an awesome opportunity. I was gonna type this stuff in, but I just thought it'd be cool just to kind of share. So I'm gonna hand it over to my sis Erica, and just for her to share her experience.
A moment that I wasn't as bold as I would have liked to be is, if you know Barry and Jessennia, you know that everybody is their friends, which is great.
It's true.
And me being the little sister that I am, I automatically make them my friends, whether they like it or not. And Jessennia and I had been going to church. Well, we all went to church, but it was just a morning where Jessennia and I went and had like a sister date at church. And we met with this person that they both speak very highly of. And I just kind of introduced and said hello, and Jessennia kind of walked away and went to go say hello to some other people. And I went and chatted with this person, and I was like, hey, how's your day going? And they just instantly, their shoulders kind of slumped down a little bit, and were like, I'm actually not doing really well. And they kind of shared that they were going through some deep issues, and not necessarily things that I could connect with, but I could tell and I could see the hurt in their eyes. And I didn't have the words to comfort them, so all I could say was, I can give you a hug, like I can offer you a hug if that helps. So we sat there and we embraced for a minute, and then church went on. And during church they had a moment where they said, we're going to do a minute where we're going to pray for everybody, and just speak aloud what you need prayer for. And I know I start to get panicky, because I know there's always things that we can ask for help with prayer for, but to speak up in a church, it takes courage. Yeah. And the person next to me was brave enough to express that they needed prayer. And I really regret not laying a hand on their shoulder, or just kind of like doing something to comfort them, because to solidify the fact that, like, hey, you're not alone. Like, I know that you need prayer. And I wanted to make sure that they felt comfort and loved. And it's sometimes in my daily life I try to focus on being the church outside of the church, but sometimes I forget that we need to also be the church within the church. And I think about that a lot, because that's somebody that these people have, my sister and brother, have spoken very highly of, and the fact that I missed an opportunity to make them feel loved, I think about that often. And like Barry said, it's encouraging, because you think, I don't ever want to let another person go by me not feeling loved. I want to make sure that I am a light to them, or try to be a light to them, and show God's love when I can.
Right. Yeah. I mean, there's power in our words, and people need to hear that sometimes. And so another time, so there's, I'm at a point in my life where I feel like it's really important to when I read scripture in Psalms, it said to seek peace and seek justice, right? and I got to see this like happen in front of my kids, where you know, a couple of times in the past 2 years there's been incidents where people got into actual fist fights, and I was able to jump in and like diffuse that, right? And so there's the incident that happened 2 weeks ago at the zoo, where these two ladies were bickering back and forth because one lady stepped or kind of shoved one of her kids. I don't know, but they were cussing each other out in front of all the kids. And I've always taught my kids to seek peace, seek justice, no matter, you know, who's arguing. Just always jump in and to try to stop, you know, whatever's going on. And so my daughters I've told my daughters these stories of when I've been able to stop fights and when I've been able to really be a mediator in those situations. But it was kind of cool because in that moment where these two ladies are cussing up a storm, and my three daughters are literally like watching it all. They saw Dad jump in, right, and share some words of encouragement to one of the ladies, and then going back to the other lady and talking to her boyfriend, like, man, come on, you guys, you got your kids, you're trying to really share some truth into them, like, man, you guys are better than this, right? Well, I got to walk away from that, and then after we diffused the whole situation, I sat down with my daughters, and it was cool for me to speak truth into them and talk about the times that I've shared with them where I was able to do this, but here Dad is doing it in front of them. And so talking about missed opportunities, that was an opportunity where I was bold enough to say, because a lot of times people would just watch and just not say anything, right? People would just let it happen, or people be out with their phones recording. But I love that, you know, because it's even that incident in January where I'm at the airport, I think about when I'm out in public, and if there's a time where I can step in or I can encourage somebody, you know, somebody standing behind me at Starbucks, I can like just start a conversation. Like it's so important. And so each and every day you're given hours to and opportunities to share and be bold and share truth with people around you. And so yeah, those are just some of like what's on our heart. And thank you, Andrea, for opening the question. And we want to encourage everybody else just to share on this page missed opportunities and opportunities that you capitalized on, really inspiring somebody and sharing words of encouragement or whatever it may be, you know. So
yeah, definitely. And like, you know, they're two very different situations that happen with Erica and Barry. Erica's in the church, Barry's outside of the church. One of my biggest regrets is a missed opportunity in being able to speak to the high school softball team. I was presented with something to do, to talk to these girls after I had done a few speaking engagements, but for some reason I let fear kind of dictate my actions, and we just saw somebody we know, so it's like,
it's Newark.
Newark is a happening place.
Knows.
Anyways, yeah, so I kind of let fear dictate it, you know, that I chose not to be bold and speak truth. And that is one situation that I do regret, because who knows if I could have at least touched one kid with the words that I spoke that day and what that could do for them down the road. So just encouraging people too, that if you do get opportunities to speak, don't let fear dictate that, and be bold and go out there and share your story, share the love that God has put in your heart to spread this amazing news, right? So that's one of my things that I definitely wish that this Facebook page started a little while ago, so I would have been bold and not been scaredy cat.
Yeah, so but thank you guys. You know, some people are listening live, and then we'll save this video and it'll be on here for others to see later. But be bold, speak truth. All right, well, thank you guys for tuning in. We'll
check out your local Starbucks, because they just let us use their internet.
There we go. All right, peace.